Hi there, it's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie getting underway here on EWTN Radio. And I'll bet one thing people that you know aren't talking about is if you were to say to them today, Happy Easter. And they would say, wait, you're a few days late. And then you go, no, we have a full octave of Easter and then an entire Easter season. So blessed Easter to those of you who are listening. Again, it's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. I'm Jerry Usher, along with Debbie Georgiani. And Debbie, how are you today?
Hello. I got a trivia question for you later on during the show, Jerry. So get ready for that. I'm going to spring it on you. Yeah.
Can I study somehow? Is there?
No. You have to make sure you know the date today.
Okay.
You want to take a guess? What's today? What's important today?
Thursday, April 16th.
Okay. Any certain birthdays today that are very special? Not mine, Jerry.
It's not Marty's, I know.
Nope. All right, think about it, Jerry. Let's see if anybody can help Jerry out and write in whose special birthday. Give you a little hint. He's in his 90s. Okay, but today we're talking about. Oh, yeah. See, your eyes opened up real wide.
Pope Emeritus Benedict.
You got it.
Yeah.
How did you know that? Did somebody give you the answer?
Maybe my guardian angel.
There you go. Love Pope Benedict. Yep, it's his birthday today. Pretty exciting. Okay, but today we're talking about now you ruined my trivia thing. Have you made a joyful return to the Catholic faith? That's what we're asking today. Your journey back into the family, back into the Catholic faith. We want to know how joy-filled it was, what it feels like right now during this COVID-19 situation. We want to hear from you, your return to the Catholic faith. 833-288-3986. That's the number to call to get on the show. Hurry. Tell us about your reversion story.
Yeah, one thing that we missed out on, or those who are in RCIA missed out on at least temporarily, is being able to being received into the church and receive the sacraments at the Easter Vigil. That's normally a time when many people come into full communion with the church. So it got us thinking about what they call reverts. Are you a revert? Have you come back to the Catholic Church following any period of time away? It could have been 6 months, a year, could have been 40 years, and you have found yourself, the Lord has led you back home into the Catholic Church. What was it like to return and receive the sacraments again? What were the main reasons you felt it necessary to leave the church in the first place? And was there somebody instrumental in helping to bring you back to a practice of the Catholic faith? These are the things we want to hear from you. We know we have many reverts listening to the show, and you are the ones who will inspire, inform, educate, and enlighten today at 833-288-3986.
Aren't you what they call a revert?
Kind of, yes.
Do you want to share a little bit about your story?
Well, I didn't have a lot of Catholic formation or education growing up. People know my parents divorced, and my mom raised 5 kids, and the nearest Catholic school is about 30 miles away, and it just became impossible for her to take us to school. And then one of the things that I think really turned my mother off was I've shared this on the show before. I went through all of the classes in formation and preparation to receive First Holy Communion, and then the priest would not allow me to do that because of my mom's marital situation, that she had been divorced. And all of my understanding, Debbie, he was absolutely wrong in doing that, unless things were different back then, or unless I'm wrong right now, somebody could correct me. But that led to a period of time of our family not going to church at all. And then when my mother started going back, I wanted to stay home and watch NBA basketball on TV. So it was about my early to mid 20s when I really had an interior conversion, and then I embraced the faith, and I, thanks be to God, by His grace, have held tightly to it since then.
And I would say you've got a joy-filled spirit.
I hope so, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So add your story. We just heard a little bit about Jerry's story. I'm a cradle Catholic, so I have nothing to share. I just get to listen, and I love listening to your stories. And so please call in and share your story back to the Catholic faith. We want to hear from you. This is how it works. You call up, you speak to Ryan. He's so wonderful to talk to. He's going to speak to you for a few minutes, put you on hold. You get to listen live, and then you get a few minutes to share your story with the entire world. It's no pressure. It's really a beautiful thing because the Take Two family is very, very friendly. So please call in at 833-288-3986. We want to hear about your joy-filled return to the Catholic Church.
Yeah, or maybe you are on that path right now. Maybe you're on your way back to the Catholic Church, and maybe you had to go through some of the RCIA instruction. Maybe even you were going to be part of that Easter Vigil celebration that has been put off for a time. If you left the Catholic Church, did you embrace another Christian tradition, or did you embrace a different sort of religion altogether? And again, was there somebody? God puts people in our lives, in our paths, and we want to know if you left the church and have come back, who was it? Maybe it was a group of people, one person, a spouse, who just kind of nudged you a little bit, not too hard, but just prayed and prayed and prayed, and helped you along your way back into the Catholic Church. So, phone lines are open right now. They do fill up fast, so grab one of them at 833-288-3986.
833-288-3986. That's the number to call to get on your show. Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We're asking today if you could share, your joyful return to the Catholic faith. Just maybe, like Jerry said, the people that were involved in your walk, how you felt coming into your church, what your community is like, right now. What are they doing right now during this time of the pandemic to make sure they reach out to you and you still stay connected? We want to hear all the details. We're very curious and we're very interested. And the number is 833-288-3986. Why are you chuckling? I'm a curious nature.
I know. Well, and people do share a lot of details with us, and we obviously only have a certain amount of time to hear your story, but look at it this way. If you were born and raised or at some point became a Catholic, then for whatever reason known to you and God alone, you left the Catholic Church, and the Holy Spirit prompted you to come back and you have returned home. There are people listening right now, Debbie, that these people are going to be inspiring. You're going to be maybe answering some questions that somebody has. You may say just the thing that somebody who's in your position, say a year or 5 or 10 years ago when you were on your journey back home. What you have to share today on this program could be life-changing. It could be eternal life-changing for somebody.
Very true, Jerry. Well said. So please call in. We're expecting you to call in. You've never let us down in almost 5 years. Come on, you guys. There's 3 open phone lines. I can't believe it. That means one of them has your name on it. It's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Call us and tell us your story back to the faith at 833-288-3986.
Father Benedict Rochelle.
There are legitimate differences of opinion in any religion. There are differences of opinion in Catholicism. But in Catholicism, you expect that people will take the teaching of its supreme authority seriously. To go diametrically opposed to those teachings is to not be a Catholic. Someone in the name of Catholicism is sponsoring the destruction of human life, lives of unborn children. And they got the name Catholic on the door. The highest authority in Catholicism and the encyclical Humanae Vitae, Evangelium Vitae, is absolutely clear that no Catholic can support abortion and that Catholics are responsible to take serious action against legalized abortion.
The people you know and trust are on EWTN. The leading Catholic voices are on EWTN Radio.
Part of the success we've had on the world over, I attribute to certainly my relationship with Mother Angelica and her teaching me early on that when you sit with someone, you talk to them, you share with them, and you create an environment where they will tell you things they wouldn't tell anyone else.
The World Over with Raymond Arroyo. Tonight, 8 Eastern on EWTN Radio.
Wow, this Easter week, at least for me, is flying by. It's Thursday, Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. on EWTN Radio. And we're talking today, listening, hoping to hear from you if you have at any point left a practice of the Catholic faith, maybe for another Christian tradition, maybe for another religion, maybe for nothing at all. You just decided, I don't need the church right now, but for whatever reason you have come back, you have a chance to inspire and really edify many, many people who are listening right now. So we encourage you to do that at 833-288-3986. And just a quick program reminder that the Bear Wozniak Adventure is Saturday nights at 6 o'clock Eastern Time. Bear Wozniak challenges men to deeper conversion and to servant leadership. And Bear doesn't mess around, so check it out. Bear Wozniak Adventure, Saturday night, 6 p.m. Eastern on
so
most
cool.
of these same EWTN stations. He is. He's really hip.
He is.
Lives in Hawaii, surfer guy, and but
He's
really
very
on fire for God.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very. Okay, Take Two family. You're a little late. Jerry already got the trivia question. We all know it's Pope Emeritus Benedict's birthday today. So you guys were right on. See, the Take Two family was right on top of it, Jerry. They had your back. They had your back. They were going to cover for you if you didn't know.
Good. I know they can't let us down. I would have expected that.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so let's move to Margaret, and Margaret is in Miami, Ohio, on Annunciation Radio.
No,
First time.
Mommy.
I'm sorry. You're in Maumee?
Yes.
Okay, and Maumee. Okay, it's written here Miami, and I do know Maumee. I actually stayed in Maumee several times to do the Annunciation Radio pledge drive. You're a first time caller, Margaret. I
Great.
love your area. You have some great churches there.
Yes, I'm a member of Rosary Cathedral.
Nice, Margaret. Well, tell us your story.
Well, I left the church when I was 15. I was angry about my sister's death. I got involved in drugs and drinking and witchcraft, and my parents prayed for me the whole time. And the man I started dating was involved in the church, and he wasn't super involved, but we ended up starting to go to the Mennonite church because my brother worked for people who were handicapped in the Mennonite church. So we helped him with the wheelchairs. But we used to go out for breakfast every Sunday. And one time I said, Larry, I really got to talk to you about something. And he said, yeah, I want to talk to you about something first also, but you go first since you said it first. So I told him I feel like God was calling me back for some reason to the Catholic Church, and I missed the Eucharist. And then he said, that's funny, that's what I was going to say to you, that I think God was calling me back to the Catholic Church. So we ended up, we didn't know what it was that God was leading us to, but we trusted, and we did youth ministry for 20 years in the church, and we're very involved as Eucharistic ministers, and my husband just died last October, so, but I'm still involved, and up here in Toledo, my sister lives up here. That's why I moved back up here. But my husband's buried up here too.
Wow.
So you need to ask any questions about that, or?
Well, Margaret, I just wanted to say a couple things. I'm sure Debbie this has touched her heart as well. But if you don't mind, first of all, would you mind sharing your husband's first name with us? Because if you listen to the show, you know that Debbie keeps a book of names of living and deceased. We'll pray for you. We'll put you in there, Margaret. We want to put you side by side in Debbie's book with your husband. If you feel comfortable giving us his first name.
Sure, Larry. He was a much better Catholic than I am. I think.
Well,
he
you
was
sound
a
like
holy man.
You sound like a pretty good Catholic yourself, Margaret. And what a beautiful, beautiful story. No one is ever outside the reach of God, outside the reach of the Holy Spirit. And let's face it.
Very true.
Margaret, you mentioned that you were angry about your sister's death. That's very, very understandable. A lot of people go through that, and sometimes it takes people a while to process that. But you got into some other things. You mentioned the drugs, the drinking, and what I think was especially dangerous was the witchcraft, because that can be very, very, very damaging to a soul. And yet, in spite of all that, God still brought this special angel named Larry into your life, and you had all these years together, and I'm sure you miss him now, but you're still in ministry. So this is all just a beautiful story, Debbie, the way it's unfolded.
Oh, absolutely. And
Yes.
I put Larry in the book, Margaret. And again, I just wanted to state Yeah, I just want to say it again that you have a great radio station, your local listening area, Annunciation Radio. It's fabulous. It is so wonderful to bring the community together. It's big. It's growing. Our dear friend Dave Asher is the manager there at Annunciation Radio, and so you're so blessed to have that. And very vibrant communities you have in all the churches. But Margaret, I actually have a question that is being sent in by text by one of our listeners, and she said that she would like to know a little bit more about the witchcraft that was part of your life at the time. Could you share anything about that? Of like how did that happen? What transpired? They're curious about the witchcraft comment that you made.
Well, my older brother, I looked up to him a lot, and he was involved in drugs and stuff, and his girlfriend was involved in witchcraft. And so she took me along to a couple, meetings, whatever you call them. Mm-hmm. And I just felt something weird, and I didn't want to go back, but so I didn't. But then I started dating a guy that I found out later. He asked me to go to this house. And I felt really weird going in the house, and there was this older lady there. And so I told him, I kind of faked like I was sick, and I told him I wanted to go home. Mm-hmm. So he took me home, but then he tried to get me to date him again. And my mother had to get on the phone because he was cussing me out and cussing out my mother, and she finally hung up on him. But also, now when I get near anything that is involved with that kind of thing, I thought it was a cool thing at the time, and it was, powerful and all this. And, I felt like I didn't have any power when my sister died. And so I thought, well, this is cool. So I kind of went along with them for a while, but something inside of me said, this isn't right. There's something wrong. I had this little, prick in my head, or something, or in my spirit. And I really feel like that guy was going to get me involved in a coven or something like that. And my parents' prayers are what saved me many times. Mm-hmm. We used to go to this witchcraft store to buy things, and as I was starting to question the witchcraft stuff, I went to the store once with her. I'd never felt this before, but we walked into the store, and I felt very oppressed and very like I couldn't breathe. So I told her I'd wait for her outside, and I was glad I did, because I just felt like something was really pressing on my spirit. It was very very frightening. So
right.
It may have been the chance that God was saying, you got to get out of this.
Right. And your guardian angel obviously was very active in tapping you and giving you those feelings like get out of here. Yeah, absolutely. And the prayers. So I think this really helps those of us that may have family members that are dabbling in certain areas. So let's just take this back. Let's take this back for a second. Margaret, you'd say that the prayers were very effective in helping you get through this.
Yes.
Leaning on your guardian angel. Your guardian angel will tap you and say, "Hey, this is not right." You can have those interior feelings saying, "This is not right." When you feel that feeling, that usually is a message to get out of there quickly, remove yourself from the situation.
Yes.
Right, Margaret. This has helped tremendously.
Good. If I can, I don't know if you have any other questions, but I just. When I came back to the church, it was just wonderful. I mean, it was like, what was I thinking that for those 7 years that I wasn't involved in the church? I was like the joy was just amazing. After going to confession and all that, it was, the joy was just so overwhelming. People need to know that.
Yeah, absolutely. My mind goes immediately to the story of the prodigal son, Margaret, and the joy that I get the feeling from the text that it took him a while to enter into that joy, but his father and everybody else, maybe not the older brother, but there was so much joy, and they threw that big party for him. And welcome back. I know it's been many, many years since you came back, Margaret, but God bless you, and thank you again for edifying us with the story of your situation.
And I just want to remind everybody that Margaret's calling from a beautiful area about 10 miles southwest of Toledo in Maumee, Ohio. So thank you, Margaret. You're not a first-time caller anymore, so call us anytime. God bless you. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Okay, Jerry.
All right, Peggy Ann is next.
Peggy
in
Ann.
O'Fallon, Missouri, near the St. Louis area. Peggy Ann is listening on EWTN.com. And another first-time caller, Peggy Ann. We're so
cool.
glad you've joined us. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just heard that you were talking about people who came back from the church, and I was raised as a Catholic, went to Catholic grade school, and just slowly fell away from it through my first marriage, and definitely stayed away once that marriage broke up for about 20 years. And my parents passed away pretty close to each other this past year, and I just wanted to have a mass for them because they were Catholic, and that wasn't done for them. So I went to mass, and I just was called back. So started going back in the morning and praying the rosary, and God just welcomed me back home. It was really awesome.
Wow. So, Peggy Ann, this came from you having masses said for your parents. Did I get that correct? And then you had the...
Yeah. I just wanted them to be remembered.
Right.
And for some reason, I just felt like I needed to go back to church. You know, back in the day when I went to school, we went to Mass every single day. So I just enjoyed that so much when I was a child. And so for some reason I started going in the morning, and then noticed that there was a lot of people praying the rosary, which I always, even though I had stayed away from the church, I still always had my rosary from my first communion hanging on my crucifix in my bedroom wherever I went. So I brought back my crucifix from my rosary from 1976, and just been praying it every day since. And Mary has just been just calling me over and over. So it's been wonderful.
Well, I was just going to say, Peggy Ann, because, Ann being the name of Mary's mother, I can just imagine what your spiritual mother, the Blessed Mother, is feeling right now. And I can just imagine it. And you said it right before I was feeling it. And then you said it, and how close you are to her through especially being devoted to the rosary. How beautiful is that? I just want to say those tears that you are sharing with all of us right now, they to me they're like droplets. I know it sounds kind of corny, but they're like droplets of love. You can just feel it through the airwaves. You have such a love. You have such a love for our faith, for Jesus, and for Mary. It's so obvious, Peggy Ann. God bless you for sharing your story today.
I do. Mm-hmm. The pastor at my church has recommended different apps to put on your phone, and I've also listened to a father. His name is Father Jonathan Meyer, and he's with All Saints Parish in Guilford, Indiana. And he is doing a wonderful job right now because they've taken away not allowing us to go to Mass right now. And he is doing a wonderful job on YouTube where you're able to still feel connected and go to church every day. And he's just been wonderful. And he's part of the reason why it just seems like it all just came together all at one time. So it's just wonderful.
Fantastic.
I can't wait to just get somewhere and tell Jesus, thank you so much for letting me come back home.
Well, I wanted to say, Peggy Ann, that Jesus thanked you because one of the spiritual works of mercy is praying for the living and the dead. Those who are deceased cannot merit of themselves, but our prayers, our sacrifices, especially offering the sacrifice of the Mass for the repose of their souls, that is a prayer that God cannot refuse, because you are presenting to the Father the representation of His his son's passion and death on the cross. So you did that spiritual work of mercy, and Debbie came back around. Peggy Ann, Jesus was coming back around to you and loving you just the way you loved him, and thanking you just the way you want to thank him.
I completely agree, Jerry. Peggy Ann, we're very big on having masses said for the living and the deceased. So way to go on that. And Peggy Ann, we have a special invitation for you from our book club facilitator, Gigi. We have Inspired by Faith Book Club on Facebook. She personally invited you to join the group. She says, I love her passion for the faith. So if you're interested, you got about 150 people waiting to receive you into the book club, Peggy Ann.
Well, that's great. That's wonderful. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you, Peggy Ann. Thanks so much for calling. Beverly and Carol Ann and Rita and Jean and Joseph got a lot of calls to get to today talking about your story, your return to a practice of your Catholic faith and how that has filled you with joy. We'd love to hear from you. Debbie, you're going to appreciate this because Debbie and I were talking about this preparing for this show. David, watching on YouTube, hey, David, he says, I don't like the term revert, but I guess I am one after 26 years not practicing, but I came back and was amazed with everything, especially Mass with Pope Benedict XVI in Washington, D.C. 12 years ago.
David, I didn't like it either. We changed the title of the show because I didn't care for that. So there you go. See, great minds think alike.
Yeah. David and Debbie on the same page, of course. This is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio.
Father John Riccardo.
When you and I wake up every day, do we strive to know Jesus or not? Quick question to you and me right now. Is that what you and I are doing every single day?
The leading Catholic voices are on EWTN Radio.
This is Kevin Burke, a Priest for Life with Pro-Life Update. Every abortion, besides killing a child, wounds multiple people, even beyond the mom and dad. For instance, it deeply damages the siblings of that aborted child. As family psychiatrist Philip Ney writes, statistically, analyzed data showed the most frequent and intense symptom was a feeling that they did not deserve to be alive. That was closely correlated to a sense of impending doom, guilt about surviving, pessimism about the future, not trusting caregivers, and other existential symptoms, all of which form a fairly closely circumscribed syndrome. These were significantly associated with recurring depression, intense obsessions, suicidal risk-taking, and frequent hospitalizations. It's time for us to face up to this damage and heal those wounds. Go to abortionshockwaves.com for more information. This is Kevin Burke on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
I'm Jerry Usher.
And I'm Debbie Georgiani. We want to tell you about the Inspired by Faith Book Club.
Join us as we gather together and read a featured inspirational book each month and engage in meaningful discussions together.
Want to participate? The details are simple and can be found at jerryanddebbie.com by clicking on the Book Club tab.
Invite your friends and let's spend some quality time in fellowship with the Inspired by Faith Book Club at jerryanddebbie.com.
Tomorrow on More to Life, the power of grace.
Struggling with making changes in your life or relationships? We'll help you get there with the power of grace.
Now back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
We're talking about your joyful return back to the Catholic faith. That's what we want to hear today, your story back into the family. So please call in at 833-288-3986. And we share with you that we have a very active Inspired by Faith book club that's headed by our friend Gigi. And I'll tell you what, it's wonderful, it's growing, but our ministry is growing as well. And so prayerfully consider this, folks. If you have some gifts and talents you want to share for the Lord and you'd like to volunteer a little bit of your time to help us grow our ministry, especially the Stand Tall ministry that we have going. You can visit our website, standtalltoday.com. Go ahead and visit it, and you'll see how it's growing very rapidly. If you have some gifts or talents you'd like to share, just a little bit for the Lord, it goes a long way, please email us, okay? And just drop us an email. You don't have to give us, your whole resume or anything. Just say, hey, I've always been interested in this. Maybe, do you need any help with this? Whatever. We would love to chat with you. So if you can send us an email, email at take2@ewtn.com. We would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, and it could be anything. Don't think, well, all I have to offer is, well, if that may be exactly what we're looking for. So like Debbie said, in any particular area that might be a support to our ministry, and I know, Debbie, you joined me in thanking. We did this a few years ago and asked for some people to volunteer, and some great people came forth.
They're still with us.
They're still with us. They've done a fantastic job. So we're excited about our ministry, and if you think you'd be somebody to be able to share that excitement with us, well, then do email us at take2@ewtn.com.
Well, and I just let me just give a shout out to our wonderful web design, very experienced, professional, amazingly creative lady, Shauna. She's with us, and she helped to develop so many of parts of our new ministry and the webinars and the virtual retreats and the Inspired by Faith book club, everything. It's just amazing. So yeah, and that started out with a email, and then we became great friends, and she's part of the Take Two family, a vital part of the Take Two family.
Okay, back to your stories about coming home to the Catholic faith. 833-288-3986. We do have a phone line open if you would like to share your experience. Carol Ann is next in Syracuse, New York, listening on the Station of the Cross, and a first-time caller. Welcome, Carol Ann. Happy Easter to you.
Yes, happy Easter to you, too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So tell us, yeah. Tell us.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. I had left the church 7 years ago because I ended a marriage that was no longer a good marriage. I'm not going to go into any detail, but he broke marriage vows, and I just couldn't stay in a marriage where the vows were broken. Anyway, going back when I was 20 years old, I ended my baby's life. And I was told by Planned Parenthood that, it's just, it doesn't have any feeling. I mean, the lies that I was told. And this is going back in 1974. And I'm 66 years young, not old, okay? And also, I had a lot of medical issues after that. I suffered very badly, and because of the abortion, I came down with cancer in 2012, uterine and ovarian cancer. I asked my doctor if it was due to the abortion, and she said she didn't think so. But I had a late-term abortion, and a couple of days after that, I started hemorrhaging and almost died. Thank God. My dad, who I was 20 years old living home, but my dad for some reason got up that Sunday morning and he just knocked on my door, and I was unconscious, and it was he wouldn't describe it, but he called the ambulance right away. Anyway, after I found out that it possibly could have been from the abortion, but in my heart, I said, I know it was the abortion, and that's why I have this cancer. So, miraculously, okay, I fill up because it's such a beautiful story. When I went to the doctor, of all days, it happened to be on my wedding anniversary, Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2012. And I looked at the clock, and I said, oh, my gosh, 27 years ago, I was going walking down the aisle, and here I am laying here and possibly being told that I have cancer. And when the exam was finished, she said that I had stage 3 uterine cancer, and then she didn't know what else, but she was scheduling my surgery right away, and I was operated on February 27th, and she found more cancer, and she found ovarian cancer. And I have 2 daughters, and she came out and said to my daughters, I'm going to do everything I can, but I can't guarantee that I'm going to be able to save your mom. She's got a lot of cancer inside her. Well, she was able, thank God, to save me, and I knew God had given me a miracle because she said to me, and here's the wonderful part, 6 months later, there was no cancer anywhere in my body. And I said, Dr. Mary, I know I got a miracle. And she said, yes, you did, Carol Ann. I know you did. So then after that, I knew what I had to do, and I had to do everything I could to let any woman who was going to Planned Parenthood to know that place was not a place where you could trust. They tell everybody that, we care about women's health. No, they don't. They lie. What they are is, I'm going to say this on radio, they are a murdering factory. All they care about is money and destroying babies' lives. So this January 24th, God opened the door for me to go to the march up in Washington, D.C., and I listened to our wonderful president speak how precious a baby's life is, and he declared January 24th as the Sanctity of Life Day from now on. I met over, at least 100 people, and everybody on the bus, we sang songs of worship, and it was just a wonderful experience. And I know God has such plans for me, because anybody who I know that is thinking of ending their baby's life, I say to them, you need to know that God has a plan for this baby, because I say the scripture, I knew you in your mother's womb. Okay.
Yeah. I think you're referring to Psalm 139, which is a beautiful, beautiful psalm. I'll tell you, Carol Ann, Debbie and I can probably speak for Debbie. We could share our thoughts from our hearts for the rest of the program, and don't worry, Beverly and Rita and Joseph, we won't, because want to get you on. But this is such an amazing, a beautiful story, and I mentioned with a previous caller who had gotten into drugs and alcohol and then witchcraft and so forth, and not even that was enough to keep God from His grace breaking in to your situation. And you mentioned your plan and your purpose. You're living that out right now in a most beautiful and a most important way. And I'm sure as you look back at those very difficult times, almost losing your life and so forth, hopefully, and I would guess it has to seem like a world apart for you right now. And the fact that you're doing what you're doing in helping to spread the truth about, say, Planned Parenthood and the sanctity of life, this is your purpose. This is what God allowed you to stay with us for. And we're so grateful for that, Carol Ann.
And I so believe that, because I know that soon as, when I speak to somebody, as far as, I'm not afraid. God has given me boldness, and I will go up and I will say, after speaking to a woman, are you pro-life or pro-choice? And she says pro-choice, and I'm like, are you aware exactly what you're stating, what you're believing in? And she says, well, that women don't have to have a baby if they don't want. And I says, really? Where would you be if your mother thought like that? And the look on their face, sir, is amazing, because that's the truth,
Wow. Carol Ann, I just want to ask you this question. I picked up on something, and please, I just want to make sure, because on radio, sometimes you can hear things and it's not quite what you said. Carol Ann, did you say that the doctor that did your surgery, her name was Mary?
Yes, and so is my mother's.
Wow. Yes. Wow. Very interesting. Okay. Yes. All right. And that is amazing. And Carol Ann, I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your story today. You've been through a lot. You've been through a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, and you've had a lot of times when you've had, those aha moments of when you said you realized, this is what it was and everything. But here's where you are today. You said 66 years young, and yes, you are, which means you have a lot of years left to be sharing your story and helping others not to make those same steps, because you want the best for everyone. You want people to live out their God-given purpose. You want to give children a chance to do that and be born. So Carol Ann, keep going. Okay, that I'm going to pray that you get another 66 years at least to keep telling your story. Okay.
You know what? I actually said, the good Lord says 120. I'm in for it. I eat organic food. I eat the food. Good. I actually have a saying, and it goes like this: let food be thy medicine.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There you go.
God's food. Like God's food be thy medicine. God bless you both.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Bless you,
thank
Carol
you.
Ann. You have blessed us very much. Boy, these are great calls, Debbie. Just to hear the peace and the joy in the lives of people whom God has touched in very, very powerful and special ways. This is such an inspiring conversation.
It is. It truly is. And this helps all of us. And as we're home and all of us are thinking about our own faith journeys and our lives and what it means for us, if you've been away from the Catholic Church, please go visit this website. It's done by a dear friend of ours. He is amazing, and he has put his heart and soul into it. CatholicsComeHome.org. CatholicsComeHome.org. Tom Peterson and the ministry that they do, they welcome people back, and it is so beautiful, and the resources that are there. Wouldn't you agree, Jerry? It's just a wonderful destination place. CatholicsComeHome.org.
Yeah. There is not a thing that you have done that would prevent God from opening his arms and welcoming you back, just like he did with the prodigal son. So please know that. If you are away from the church for any reason right now, as the Catholics Come Home line goes, go back to God. Turn back to God. Ask God, I don't know what to do. I think I've strayed too far from you. Please help me to find my way home. And it's guaranteed that he will, because there's nothing God wants more than to have you back home and have you in heaven for eternity.
Amen to that. Okay, we are going next to Beverly, and Beverly is in Richmond Hills, Georgia, Sirius XM 130. Hi, Beverly. Thank you so much for waiting. You got our Patience Award today, Beverly. It's virtual, but we're sending it to you. Welcome.
I can take that anytime, and thank you for what you do. I've been married 46 years, and I married a man who was Lutheran, and he did go to Mass with me, and he grew up across from a Catholic church, so he's real familiar. And we baptized our children, and we kind of got slack for a few years of moving with the military. And then in 1989, my mom died of cancer, and her wish was, she was a convert. She was baptized when I was baptized as an infant. And her wish was for me to go back into the church. And I remembered in 1990, I had cancer surgery for ovarian cancer, and I was blessed that the doctor I had was amazing. I started going back to church, and we moved to Richmond Hill, Georgia area, and I found St. Anne's in Richmond Hill. And the priest there, I told him I was having issues with continuing my faith, and we worked on it. That was in, and then 2006, our middle daughter, who was 31, died suddenly, unexpectedly, with no cause, and 3 children. And I went to the priest and told him I really needed to get back into my faith. And my husband and I were able to get through her death and help raise the 3 children to only turn around, and we were really getting strong. I was teaching at the church. We were have redone our vows. My husband was received into the church as a convert. And then 5 years after that, 2011, our second daughter died the same way, leaving 4 children. And so we now have 7 grandchildren without moms. We have 2 son-in-laws that aren't anywhere near religion. So I prayed about it. And at that time, they were doing a Welcome Home program in Savannah. I was talking to the bishop about how much I had gone through. I wish the program was when I began. It is a tremendous program. It is so faithful. Our church right now at St. Anne's, of course, is doing the live Mass every day. I'm suffering from red cell leukemia. My husband's suffering from ALS. We have 2 wonderful grandchildren, adults, that are helping us, and the amazing Knights of Columbus and all the people at St. Anne's. And I just want to let you know that Welcome Home and all the churches need to really excel. It kind of slacked off now. I don't see it as much. And in my heart and soul, that was a saving grace to have that Welcome Home feeling and get your church doing that welcoming. Because I look around and sometimes somebody else, I'll say hello to somebody. I said, I don't remember seeing you. And they go, well, I've been here 6 weeks. We're just skipping over and not welcoming people. And right now, when we have Mass live, I invite all my friends around, whether they're Catholic or not, into the Mass. And it's an amazing amount of non-Catholics are now watching the Mass daily. So, my welcome home from God is just
Endless.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing, Beverly. And all that you have been through. Debbie and I, we're not on the same location geographically, but we see each other on video, and we're both just kind of shaking our heads like, my goodness, the tragedies that you've experienced. And yet, your voice sounds like you're at peace. You have peace despite all of this. And I want to shout it from the rooftops so many times to people who are going through tragedies and suffering and so forth, that they really only make sense within the context of our faith in God and what we just celebrated. Jesus went through all of that. I watched on Palm Sunday and Good Friday, I watched the Passion of the Christ both days 2 times. And I just looked at Jesus and all that he went through. And our faith, there's nothing that he can't relate to, I guess is what I'm trying to say, Debbie. I'm having a hard time getting it out.
No, you said it beautifully. I agree. Beverly, real quickly, as you were speaking, my heart was just aching at all that your family has been through with the passing of your 2 daughters. And I put your entire family in our prayer book, and especially for what you're all going through. I know you said your grandchildren are helping and everything, but I put the whole, your whole family in. Your 2 daughters, would you feel comfortable giving us their first names? And we've already got folks praying the rosary right now for your entire family. So I think that's pretty incredible.
It is. The first started with Samantha Ann, and the second was Sabrina June. And one thing I want to especially thank our faith family at St. Anne's. The parish went through some fracturing, as they all do, and right now we are so amazingly close. We have a new priest who's only been a priest a little over a year from Nigeria, who lost a bishop and a friend that was a seminarian with him. And his strength has really enveloped all of us, because he's only going to be 30 on Saturday. And his faith since he was 11, it seems like it really woke us up. I think God knows, and I know God knows what he's doing. So we go back hopefully on Pentecost, and I teach sacramental First Communion.
Good.
Hopefully my children can be receiving Christ, because it's just the thing to do.
Yeah. And this is your parish in Richmond Hill. Can you tell us the name of the parish?
St. Anne's.
It is St. Anne's. Okay, that's where you're teaching it. Okay, I wanted to make sure. And this is where the young Nigerian priest is your pastor?
He's our pastor is Father Allen, and our Nigerian priest is Father Solomon.
Beautiful. And I put them, I was adding, you see what I had a purpose to this, Beverly. I added your whole St. Anne's community, and I added your pastor and the wonderful young priest. I added Father Solomon. I added everybody, Beverly. You got the whole community covered on today's show, okay?
It needs to be, because it is reaching out in the community. Our priest even has awards from Southern Baptists in our area, are an amazing group, but they cause some issues with Catholics. He has become so close to the non-Catholic Christian faith in our community that he got an award from the community for his work and our faith. So I just think in the South, that's something that's happening,
That's kind of like the likes of Mother Angelica, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go ahead, Beverly.
I have pneumonia, so say an extra prayer.
Oh, goodness, Beverly. All right. Enough, Beverly. You've been through enough. Stop. Tell God to take a break for a while, okay?
Yes. I'm getting infusions tomorrow, and that's my 5-hour rest. Every other Friday, I get an infusion at our cancer center, and the nurses there all pray with me. And actually, they watch Mass at 9 o'clock when I do.
Oh, wonderful.
So.
Nice.
Wonderful.
Nice.
It's a good thing.
Okay.
Thanks, Beverly, for your
Thank
beautiful,
you, Beverly.
beautiful phone call. Yeah, God bless you, and thanks for being a part of the Take Two family. It's true, Debbie. Suffering forges us into different people. And one of the parishes I go to, the associate pastor is from Nigeria as well. Mm-hmm. And his demeanor, his preaching, his fervor for the faith, you get to see it was forged in difficulty and tragedy, I'm sure, back home. And for all of us, let our prayer be that as we, God willing, soon come out of this lockdown, closure, isolation, whatever we call it, Debbie, that our faith will be almost like brand new, and we will live it with a deeper fervor than ever before.
Yeah. Well, you talk about Nigerian priests. I have two Nigerian priests that I'm close to. One was on the altar during my wedding, and I'll tell you what, you talk about a joy. They have such a joy that radiates from them. It is amazing. I love our Nigerian priests. Okay, real quickly, Jerry, overcoming the evil with Father Wade Menezes, another great priest. Father Wade Menezes reflects on the reality, nature, and horror of sin. What fear of the Lord really means, the four consequences of every sinful act, how to hear God's voice in your life and respond to his call, plus daily prayers to help you on your journey to sainthood. Sounds good. It's available now on EWTNRC.com. This is from EWTN Publishing. So please buy Catholic, shop EWTNRC.com, and you're supporting the EWTN mission, which is wonderful.
Okay. We do have time for Rita. Rita, you get to share the Patience Award with Beverly in Colorado Springs, Colorado, a first-time caller listening on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Rita. Welcome to Take Two.
Thank you. Good morning. I'll try to make this as quick as I can. I was raised Catholic all my life. I went to grade school and high school and eventually even got a degree from a Catholic college. So it wasn't like I didn't have the information I needed. But I was in the military for over 25 years. And during that time, I met a fella, and of course we went off and got married, but he'd been married before. So we weren't going to church. I mean, I would go to church, and but because I couldn't receive communion, it just felt horrible to me. I know I shouldn't have felt like that, but I did. So we were married for 9 years, and the last year that we were married, I got posted to Greenland, Thule, Greenland. And after only 3 months of being up there away from him, I realized I was able to really take a look at what was going on in my life. But instead of walking over to the chaplain and talking to him, you know, I just kept pushing it away. But as soon as I got back from my year tour in Greenland, I informed him that we were getting a divorce. And nothing he could say could change my mind because I just couldn't. There was a lot of reasons other than being outside the church that we needed to be divorced. But the missing communion, missing going to church was a huge factor. So as soon as the divorce was finalized, I went to the church that I was attending in Florida at that point and went to confession. And, you know, so many people have always said, you know, you go into confession, you confess your sins, and you walk out feeling, you know, light and airy. And I never understood that until that day. And I'll tell you, I practically danced out of that church that afternoon. And I could not wait until the next morning when I could finally go back to church and receive communion. And I've never stumbled away from the church again. I can't say that I live a perfect life, far from it, but I know that reconciliation is out there. And, you know, I think God has a plan for me. I'm not quite sure what it is, but I know that part of that plan is to be with him in the Catholic Church.
Beautiful. And Rita, if we didn't run out on the show for this hour, we would have stayed talking to you for the rest of the hour because you have an incredible journey back to the faith. And I just want to say, thanks to God, thank you, God, that Rita had that precious time alone to really reflect on what was important in your life, because that changed everything for you. And so I do believe God's got great things in store for you, Rita. We just hope that you keep us abreast of what's happening in your life, because we want to journey with you. And thank you for sharing your story today. Perfect call to end this wonderful discussion on. Thank you, Rita. What do you think, Jared?
Absolutely. Every call was just fantastic today. Thank you, Take Two family. Thank you, Michael Birchfield, Jeff Burson, Ryan Penny, the show team. And thank you, affiliates, for carrying the program. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about, we want you to bring to the program, what good news have you heard recently? It seems like it's all just bad news, horrible stuff, drag us down, get us depressed and all of this stuff. But Debbie, there's good news all around us. We want to hear some of it.
People are doing some great things right now, so we want to hear about it on tomorrow's show. Until then, have a beautiful and blessed day. We'll see you real soon.